Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So in this video what we're going to learn is actually describe the formation of our dative bond using Lewis symbol. So we have a look at the ionic and covalent bond. Last part is actually we're going to look at for the formation of dative bond. So on your notes it will be on page 4. Okay. So what is a dative bond? Okay, ataupun dative covalent bond. Okay, dative covalent bond forms when only one atom can provide both electrons of the shared pairs. So for previous case yang covalent bond tu kan, contohnya for our fluorine, each of the fluorine ni share one of the electron. Tapi dalam case ni, for this case around, for the dative bond, is actually one atom will provide both of the electron. Tapi dalam kes ni, it does not donate yang bagi macam tu je. Bukannya macam person dan the electron is not present. Maknanya dia memang share lah. Dia share kat situ. Dia bukan transfer sahaja. Kira yang ini, for this case around, yang atom ni, dative bond ni, yang donor ni memang pemurah lah. Macam So, contohnya kita tengok dative bond ni. So, what happen is that, okay. So, we have, for our dative bond ni, we have our donor. We have our acceptor. Okay. Dalam kes ni kita akan learn the term yang donor acceptor. Sama ni waktu yang kita belajar ionic bond tak ada kan donor acceptor, hanya tahu dia donate. Tapi we do not call it as yang metal tu donate. Yang ini dalam case for the dative bond tu memang ada donor, memang ada acceptor. So what donor do is actually it will provide lone pair. Dia akan provide lone pair to the acceptor. And then the acceptor ni sendiri, it wants stability where it need lone pair electrons. Okay, so here kita tengok. Okay, the donor atom must have a lone pair of electron. So I hope you are comfortable with lah what is actually lone pair. Kita dah tengok sikit, kita dah tengok, taklah sikit, banyak juga 3 example of apa tu sebenarnya lone pair. Okay, and then the acceptor atom must have an empty orbital to accommodate the 2 electrons. Okay, and the bond is represented by an arrow from the donor to acceptor. Okay, dalam kes ni kita kena draw arrow balik. For the case of covalent tak perlu draw yang arrow kan. Tapi for the case of ionic we have to show the arrow. Untuk dative bond ni pun kena show the arrow as well. Oops. Okay. So, contohnya kita tengok kat sini, we have our NH₃, our ammonia. So, kita tengok kita punya nitrogen itself. So, our nitrogen ni, kita ada 3 bond. Okay. Why? We have 1, 2, 3 bond, kan? Okay. And then, we have our nitrogen ada 1 lone pair. Okay, remember, lone pair is actually the pair of electron that does not involve in the covalent bond. Sebab yang involve in covalent bond yang 3 bond ni je. Okay, and then kita tengok nitrogen ni pun dah memang cukup 8 kan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's for the case of nitrogen. Okay, how about hydrogen plus ni Okay, hydrogen plus ni, okay. So, contohnya kalau hydrogen dia ada 1 electron. Tapi kalau hydrogen plus, it means that it has 0 electron. Memang tak ada electron betul lah ni. So, in this case, which one yang akan jadi donor yang acceptor? Okay, ini use different colour Okay, in this case, our nitrogen is our donor and our hydrogen is our acceptor. Because it has empty orbital. Yang ini memang tak ada electron langsung lah ni kiranya. Okay, so what happened here is that I'm going to draw for the case of our H and H. Okay, so dia ada 2 electron kan dekat sini. Maksudnya dia ada lone pair. Lone pair ni. Ni satu ni kita panggil lone pair. Okay, so what happens is that it will donate the electron. Dia akan donate kepada to whom? Dia sudah akan share to our hydrogen. Okay, so sekarang dia akan share to our hydrogen. So hydrogen ni lah. Okay, next what happens is that kan sebenarnya H plus kan. So what happens is that yang satu ni akan jadi NH₃ plus. So I'm going to draw it. So dia akan jadi macam ni NH₃ plus. Okay. So as we look when we look here, so nitrogen ni memang cukup lah kan 8 electron. Hydrogen ni memang 2. This hydrogen pun it has 2 electron. Sebab sebenarnya for 1 bond ni memang ada 1, 2 bond. And then make sure label it at as, nak use different colour lah. Label it as our dative bond. Okay, make sure we show the arrow to from the donor to acceptor. Okay, so that is for the case of NH₃. Okay, so sekarang ni kita tengok for the case H3O+. Okay, for the case of H3O+, so kita tengoklah. Sedang kita tengok yang center tengah-tengah ni. Oxygen ni have 2 bond. And then it has 2 lone pair. Okay, kenapa 2 bond 2 lone pair? Dia ada 1, 2 bond, 2 lone pair. 1, 2 lone pair. Okay, dalam kes ni, this is hydrogen plus. So, the same goes as before. So, kalau hydrogen, dia 1 electron. Kalau H plus, it means that it has 0 electron. Okay, so, dekat sini, remember that our donor must have lone pair electron. Oksigen ni ada. The acceptor must be an empty orbital. Maksud dia, it's either empty 0 electron ataupun tak cukup octet. So, this case around pun sama juga. Here is my. So, what happened here is that, kalau apa? Okay, so here, I'm going to donate the electron to the hydrogen. Okay, donate lepas tu dia share lah sebenarnya. So, and then, draw the sign because it's actually once combined, and make sure we label it as our dative bond. So, label lah dia dative bond. So, that is for the case of H3O+. Okay, next case round. So, kita akan tengok pada our NH₃BF₃. So, dalam case ni, sebab hydrogen already achieve dah memang duplet kan, dia dah bahagia seseorang. So, biarlah dia. So, kita tengok nitrogen je. Nitrogen ada 3 bond. Ada 1 lone pair. Okay. So, this case ada BF3. It could be boron. It could be our fluorine. Okay. Tapi dalam case of fluorine ni, okay, kalau kita tak pastikan, kita tengok je lah kat tepi ni. Fluorine ni ada 1 bond. Ada 3 lone pair. So, dah cukup dah sebenarnya 8 electron. Remember, the acceptor must have an empty orbital. It means that it does not achieve octet lagi lah. So, cannot lah fluorine ni. So, next kita tengok boron. So, boron ni, we have 3 bond. Lepas tu tak ada lone pair. So, bila ada 3 bond tu, dia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, dalam kes ni, dia dah cukup dah octet tu sendiri. 6. So, dia tak cukup lagi octet, sorry. It's not enough. So, maknanya dia ada empty orbital. Dia ada empty orbital yang we can fill up by the electron itself lah. Okay, so, dalam, for this case, our acceptor will be our boron. It's not fluorine, it is our boron. So, again, sama juga. I'm going to label it. Is donating the electrons to our boron. So, boron dekat sini B1, 2, 3, F, F, F. Make sure that we know that for our fluorine itself, dia memang nak capai octet kan. So, we have to draw lah yang dot-dot ni. For the hydrogen, we do not have to draw the dot-dot sebab dah cukup dah 2 electron. Okay, so and then should we draw yang bracket ni ke? Tak perlu pun sebab it's a neutral one kan. Sebab kadang-kadang kita buat bracket ni, it's just to show that all of this, total charge dia is positive 1. Sebab itulah. Tapi dalam case ni, neutral cases kan. So, tak ada charge. Jangan lupa. Miss lupa sendiri. Labelkan dia as our dative bond. Last but not least is actually Al₂Cl₆. So, for the case of our dimer. Okay, dalam case ni sama sahaja. So, what we're going to do is actually I'm going to check first. So, dalam kes ni, our chlorine ni is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chlorine ni, bila kita check. Chlorine ni ada 1 bond, ada 3 lone pair. Whereas for the aluminium, I'm going to label it here lah. Chlorine ni ada 1 bond, 3 lone pair. So, for the aluminium pula, dia ada dia ada 3 bond. Tapi 0 lone pair. In this case around, aluminium ni does not achieve octet yet. So sebenarnya dia ada empty orbital to fill up our electron. But for our chlorine, it's enough for our 8 electron kan? So dalam case ni, our aluminium will be our donor. Aluminium ni is our, I'm going to write down ya. Donor pula. Aluminium akan jadi acceptor. And our chlorine akan jadi donor. Sebab chlorine ni, remember that the donor must have our lone pair of electron. Donor must have lone pair. Acceptor tu must have empty orbital. It means that it does not have enough of our electron. Does not achieve octet yet. Okay. So, dalam case ni, this is actually a dimerization process tau. Okay. So, what happen is that each of the dia bukan satu ni jadi donor, satu ni acceptor macam biasa. Ini akan form dimer ni, dia jadi lain sikit. Dia akan form macam ni. So, first I'm gonna draw the first one ni. I'm just gonna draw it in terms of lukisan ni sebenarnya. Mesti ikut je ni. Senang sikit lah. So, between the aluminium dengan chlorine ni, chlorine ni akan share the electron to aluminium. Okay, so I'm gonna draw it here. Chlorine ni akan share to our aluminium. Tapi, okay, so the second species ni, the aluminium itself does not achieve octet yet. So what happen? Chlorine dekat sini pula akan share the electron to our chlorine, to our aluminium here. Dia sweet kan, sesama sharing macam tu. So here is our dative bond. So I'm going to label it as, this is what we call as our dative bond. Okay, dalam case ni, sebab yang chlorine ni donate to our aluminium here. Aluminium here is not, for the aluminium on the second one, on the purple one ni, belum achieve octet lagi. So what happen, yang chlorine yang ini pun akan donate the electron to our aluminium. So sekarang ni, each of the atom itself dah capai octet. So dah happy ending. Okay, so that's the last part. Okay, so yang bawah sekali ni is actually a summary of what you have learned. Okay, so we have learned about the ionic bond ataupun the electrovalent bond, where it is actually the opposite charges attracting, where it is actually a case of the transfer of electron between the metal and non-metal. So, kiranya dekat sini, kita punya metal ni donate to become cation, and our non-metal ni accept electron to become an ion. So, akan form yang ini lah. Okay, the next one we have learned is actually the covalent bond, where there is no charges attracting. It's actually between the non-metal and non-metal itself, where it share the electron pair. So, dia boleh jadi single bond boleh, double bond boleh, triple bond pun boleh. Okay, I do not know whether you dengar ke tak bunyi ayam yang dari tadi bunyi tu, tapi okay. So, dia boleh kat sini lah. So, they're sharing between the non-metal itself. Last but not least, in this video ni, kita belajar tentang dative bond, where there is no charges attracting. Tapi dalam case ni, the atom ni akan provide the electron to the fission species. Okay, so dekat sini is actually our donor. Ni is actually our acceptor. The fission species ni maknanya it has less than 8 electron lah. Ataupun ada yang kita tengok memang 0 elektron terus. Okay. Yang donor ni, paling penting dia mestilah ada lone pair. Lone pair of electron. Okay. So, that's the last of our, for the formation of bond, which is our ionic, covalent and dative bond.